I think there's a similarity between vampires and demons, at least one. There are probably more, but the one that crosses my mind is, at least according to the folklore and the tradition, history, whatever. Uh, for both of these, you have somehow to open the door of your house, of your life, so they can enter in. For some reason, uh, they know that you, as a living soul, is residing in your apartment or house, so somehow they need an open door to come in, to be invited, so they can come and, in any shape and form, influence your life, which is usually in a bad way. But this is, for me, a resounding similarity between vampires and demons. They both need your permission in one shape or form to enter your life. And usually, if you allow them, your life gets messed up, even to the point of death. To some people who get demonized. Um, but yeah, I was just thinking about, this similarity. Like, according to the lore of vampires, they will not cross the doorstep and come in your house unless you verbally, orally invite them in. So I was just thinking that's interesting.
There are other similarities. Romanian, Serbian, and a few other Balkan countries assert that vampires are capable of rape. For whatever we want to believe that, there is widespread linkage, and by widespread I mean transcontinental, between vampires and either the abortions or the common practice of exposing your child. In a number of pagan civilizations, if you didn't want the baby, you'd leave it out there. This practice continued into, or like, after Christianization, unfortunately, in many countries, and it was commonly believed in many of these nations that the children, either the aborted baby or the exposed child, would return as a sort of vampiric spirit. This has led to a lot of exorcistic rites involving children that were aborted or exposed in certain cultures, some all the way into the Buddhists. So Zach wants to say something, and then I'll talk the Enochic material.
You've played like Witcher 3, right, Nicola? So you remember the baby, that quest line with the weird baby demon?
Oh, it was like a monster baby, right?
Yeah, that's the same folklore he's talking about, right? Where it's the baby that's killed violently and then becomes like an evil spirit, and they had to like purify it.
Yeah, it makes sense because Witcher is coming from Poland, and Poland is Eastern Europe. And I just want to say, in this regard, Jordan, I will plan eventually to bring more about Slavic origins of the vampire folklore, especially me being Serbian. But I want to say, in Serbian novels, because I love fictional novels, there's a lot when it comes to vampires. Once when they become vampires and come back, and they come in the house of their former house. Uh, I know it's a novel. No one said really happened, but if it's a novel, it means it must be in the folklore of my people or other Slavic people. The vampire males will come back and continue having sexual um, relationship with their former wives. They wouldn't kill them, but they would continue sleeping with them, even though their bodies would be cold. They would look different, but like, oh, that's still this person, because this person still, even though it's undead, it still knows their family members. And while it may attack some, it may also be harmless towards his former family members. So it's just a messed up. The whole thing is messed up. I'm not saying my people or my folklore. I'm saying the whole story about vampires. For me, it's a corrupted and perverted version of the resurrection, of the coming resurrection, especially of Jesus, which Christians believe. Of course, you don't have to believe because you're a Jew, but for me, this makes sense. This is like a demonic perversion of the true resurrection.
Actually, Jews do believe in the resurrection. It's one of the articles of faith.
No. Yeah, but I mean, in the
Yeah,
resurrection, when it comes to Jesus,
it's
yeah,
funny you
know.
mention that, because the biggest connection between vampires and demons is not in works of demonology, but actually is in the Enochic material. So when we always talk about Enoch, most people just think of like the books of Enoch in terms of like, let's just read this and then like derive theology. That's nice. That's great. I want to stop anyone from doing that. But the Enochic works had immense ramifications practically in late antiquity, and most especially on a notion of demonic resurrection, or like, are you familiar with theosis? Yes, it's like anti-theosis or demonic theosis.